have a certain idea. Now, I want to talk about the power of design. I remember I gave you the scripture, Ephesians 2:10, and I told you that God is the designer. It's a grand designer. He's a masterpiece designer. He created a blueprint that nobody else can duplicate. As much as we are doing this genetic engineering and all that, yes, we have the godliness in us, we have the image, and therefore we can almost create, but the preciseness of the creation is only by God. Now, can I tell you something? This is going, I want you to get the mindset here. Do you know some flowers? Flowers who are not meant for beauty. And that's shocking. And I know I've talked about this for those who have followed me in the social media and in some of the shows that I have done. You are not created for beauty. In fact, creation is not for beauty. Creation is for a purpose. Creation was for a purpose, not for beauty. But in the purpose, you see beauty. And I hope you get that right. Creation was not for beauty, but for purpose. But in the purpose, you'll always find beauty. I know you'll tell me, yeah, after God created, he says, and all things were good and all that. That goodness there is actually purpose, not the beauty. Now, I want to tell you this. When you see a yellow flower, sometimes we can mistake that flower. And I know for ladies here, they're the majority here. We love flowers. We see a flower and you want to admire the flower. That flower was not created for beauty. If you look at that flower and you study and you ask people who understand plants and that technology around plants, they will tell you the science of it is that there are some insects and an ecosystem and some microbiomes, those are microorganisms, that thrive within specific environment of that flower. In fact, there are some insects that only see a specific color. So there are insects that only know color yellow, color purple, color blue. And by God's wisdom and design, he created that flower to actually host those insects. But for a human being, you see beauty. What you don't know is that that yellow color is actually a livelihood for a whole ecosystem of biomes and microbiomes and some insects that can only exist. That's actually what their world is, like the universe. That flower is the universe to some insects. But you as a human being, you mistake and see that flower as beauty. I want to change because my role is shifting mindsets. That flower was not created for beauty. It's a livelihood by itself. So apparently, we live lives for beauty. The job you are next maybe to apply, it's a beauty issue. The house you're likely to build next year, the car you're going to buy, the career, the jobs, all those titles you have. Can I surprise you? Those are all beauty. The degree you are pursuing, the masters, the PhD, all those things, the businesses you are doing, most of them are beauty. You just see the beauty. Inside them, you must discover the core meaning of that ecosystem. So our life should be viewed not from a beauty perspective, but from the core value and the impact. If you remove that yellow flower, if you go and paint that flower, you paint it blue, you have killed some ecosystem just by changing the color. I hope you can get what I'm talking about here. Because there's some insects only, us as human beings, you can see the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow. Yeah, there's what you call the flies, you know, inzi, and the butterfly. Some of them have you know, complex eyes. They can see multiple. For us, we can see the colors of the rainbow. Some insects can only see one color in their life. If you tell them there's a blue, they'll tell you there's no blue color. They only know yellow. They only live in the yellow. So if you go and change that color of that yellow flower and you change it to green, you have killed that insect. You know what? Yourself have a purpose that actually you owe life to humanity. There are people who should be feeding in you, but because you have not discovered your purpose, some people are dying somewhere. There's somebody somewhere who should be relying on you as an ecosystem, like that flower. But because we have labeled ourselves and defined ourselves from a beauty perspective, we lose the meaning. So I hope you get that light. Now, we also know we have eyes on front so that we have foresight. I want to explain the concept of design. It is not just God created. There's a design behind that creation. When you talk about the fear-free and wonder-free made, we only leave it there. And that's why sometimes we have very shallow thinking. We don't have the practical revelation of that. If you just look at your eyes, they're in front. Can I surprise you? Maybe you never knew. Go and look for studies around animals that has eyes in front, and you'll notice one thing. They are all predators. Maybe you've never known about that. Cats are predators. Lions are predators. Look at a cow. The cow's eyes are on the side. No? Why? They are plays. Predators have eyes in front. But you never question this. We only settle in the scripture, we are fear-free and wonder-free made. But if you tell somebody, show me how that fear-free, wonder-free made is, you can't explain. So we are predatory in mind. We are able to also see far. We have eyes that can focus in terms of foresight. We're able to see ahead. And that's why eyes are in front. The eyes are in front so that we can be able to dominate. Now, the spirit of dominion is actually also fed from the eyesight. Because when a predator is focusing on a prey, they are focusing to attack and dominate. And when God created and told human being, we have created with you my image, you go and dominate. It's actually precisely that. You cannot dominate without attack. You go and get a sphere of influence and you literally dominate that space. But how many of us are really can say clearly say we have dominated our space? Not at all. We are doing very shallow influences, or maybe just do one thing today, tomorrow we have given up and we have no resilience. Finally, of course, we even have a heart, a grip. Have you ever thought about the word about your heart? You have a grip. Just imagine you remove the thumb. I don't know how you can survive even your livelihood. And because you have the power of a grip that implies you can hold on something. You can hold on something. You have a precision of a grip by itself, and you can hold. The thing is, have you ever kind of decided to think about the design wonder around your life? That's, I think, the question I'm trying to build for you here. Have you ever thought about the wonder in your design for life? If you can be able to think about that, I can assure you, you'll be able to see life in a different context, not in the shallow context of how we have taken life to be. And that's a challenge for all of us, and even myself included. So in short, we are saying this, we are a product of a design. We are a product and a masterpiece from God himself. You need to discover that thing that then you are wired to do, and not leave it at a very generalized level, but go a bit more specific. Now, I want to just talk about two more things, then I'll pause a bit and just get some reflection from you as we continue.